All right. Hello and welcome everybody to the newest addition to the Extreme Forces Racing League, the Buck Wild 1987 NASCAR Classic Series. We have just started qualifying. We are less than 2 minutes into it. We are currently following Sully Buck in the 67 machine as they enter turn 3 at Daytona. I do apologize, we were supposed to have overlays for tonight, but we are currently experiencing some technical difficulties. Bear with me, and hopefully it will be up by the end of tonight. If not, we will see it next week. The Legends 87 NASCAR stock cars are heading to Daytona circa 2008 tonight. This track is much rougher and bumpier than this track is much rougher and bumpier than the Daytona that we are all used to now. Not only that, these cars are much harder to handle, so these drivers are going to have a handful tonight. Solely Buck, currently second on the board with a 44.49. Justin Walbring currently at the top of the board with a 44.45. Coming to the checkered flag now. He will set a 44.38, but Dustin Buck has just bested him now with a 44 flat. He sits atop the standings. Aaron Murphy just setting his qualifying lap of 44.23. That'll give him second. Braxton Clues attempting his qualifying lap. Looks like he will reset to the pit lane. The tires on these cars fall off very quickly, so any little mistake will cost you seconds down the road. Looks like Lee Kraus finishing up his qualifying. He's currently fourth on the board with a 44.28. Trying to get as close to the yellow line as he can. If you have ever played iRacing, these cars are not like your traditional stock cars. These are much heavier and faster and a lot harder to handle. Your handling and how your car's tires are will be an important factor, especially late in the run. We have 75 laps on tap tonight at Daytona. Lee Kraus will finish his qualifying of 44.28. Still sitting fourth on the board, and I believe that will be it for qualifying. Ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Buck, your pole sitter for tonight. Aaron Murphy on his outside. Starting inside row 3 will be Braxton Clues. The 9 machine inside second row to his outside will be Lee Kraus, followed by Justin Walbring just behind. Sully Buck will be on the outside of row 3. Zach Domer inside row 4 with James Budd to his outside. Brandon Griffiths and Mick Olafson will make up
Come
row
join me,
5.
Nick, as we die together.
Mick Olafson, very, very optimistic about his chances tonight. Let's go ahead and turn off our driver radios. We will hear from our drivers later tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's broadcast is sponsored by Buck Wild Racing and Astro Towing from Saskatoon, Canada. Astro Towing will be sponsoring the Victory Lane tonight, whoever your winner will be. Buck Wild is sponsoring the league name itself. All right, pace car is fired off, and we are getting ready to go green here. One short lap at caution speed, and we will be underway for 75 laps at the famous Daytona International Speedway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the pace car is coming out of turn 4. Once the pace truck goes down, our drivers tonight will have to wait for the green flag to start the race. Pace truck is pulling off now. Dustin Buck will lead the field to green. The green flag waves in the air, and we are underway. 75 laps at the famous Daytona International Speedway. Dustin Buck has a slight edge over Aaron Murphy on the inside, but Aaron Murphy has the draft on the outside to help him. Coming down the backstretch, Aaron Murphy will be pushed to the lead. Lee Kraus just behind him. Lee will dive to the inside, looking to make a move heading into turn 3. He'll be ahead by a nose, but will he clear it? He'll try. Side by side coming into the tri-oval. Aaron Murphy will lead lap 1. Lee Kraus in second. Sully Buck in third. Dustin Buck now falling to 4th. Trouble for our pole sitter. Aaron Murphy now in an island by himself, but Lee Kraus is slowly catching him with the draft. Aaron Murphy will go right down to the yellow line, trying to break the 99's momentum, but the 99 will charge to the outside with the help of the 67 of Sully Buck. Aaron Murphy, no help from the cars behind him. Lee Kraus looks like getting to the wall. These cars are very tough to handle, especially on such a fast track like Daytona. Lee Kraus will now charge to the lead. Aaron Murphy will fall to third. Now Sully Buck able to clear the 3 machine. Sully Buck continuing his momentum will try to take the lead away from Lee Kraus. 2 by 2 by 2, the top 6 positions. Sully Buck now with the lead slightly. Aaron Murphy following closely behind Lee Kraus, still on the outside lane. Sully will swerve, trying to defend both lanes, both Lee and Aaron making aggressive moves. Still side by side in turns 1 and 2. We have a car in the wall. It looks to be the 99 machine. He'll lose a ton of momentum. That'll allow Aaron Murphy to get back into the lead. Sully and Dustin Buck now trying to charge from second and third. Trying to close the gap to Aaron Murphy. They'll wind it down to less than a cart length. Sully Buck gets alongside Aaron Murphy in the wall. Problems for your race leader. He'll fall to fourth, fifth, maybe sixth. He'll make some slight contact with Braxton Clues in the 9 machine. Aaron Murphy, race leader, will now be 3 wide, trying to hold on to the top 5. Sully Buck now your leader with Mick Olofsson close behind, and Aaron Murphy hard hit into the wall. Just coming out of turn 2. We'll have to go back and see what happened there. Sully Buck still in the lead, trying to hold off Mick Olofsson. They'll trade positions. Too close to call at the line. Mick Olofsson called your leader by a nose. Braxton Clues now in the 3rd position. Justin Walbring in 4th, getting into the wall a little bit. He'll make some contact with Zach Domer. Sully and Mick still side by side, the 67 and 75 machine in a dead heat as they enter turn 3. Justin Walbring second row up top. Dustin Buck on the inside. Mick and Sully are still gridlocked. Neither has the momentum to get ahead. But that could change as Justin gets real close to the back of Mick, and he'll get into the wall once again. His momentum will stumble a little bit. Mick Olofsson still slightly in the lead, but Sully Buck has more momentum on the inside lane. Your leaders still not able to clear one another. Neither has the momentum to do it. Mick Olofsson, excuse me, he will have the momentum to do it. He will clear Sully and take the lead. Sully will try to do a crossover, get to the inside of him. We have another car in the wall. That looks to be Lee Krause in the 99, falling to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Sully will get the momentum around Mick Olofsson. Mick Olofsson dropping fast, down to 4th now. Maybe 5th. These drivers are getting into one line. They are tired of running side by side. Mick Olofsson being hung out to dry. Sully and Dustin Buck, 1 and 2 currently on the board. Justin Walbring in 3rd, following closely behind. Dustin Buck thinks about going to the outside, decides against it, not allowing Justin Walbring to sneak up and try to take the runner position. Justin Walbring getting a little loose. Zach Domer pushing him behind. Justin Walbring hard into the wall. The pack scatters. He collects the 9 of Braxton Clues. Justin Walbring tumbling in turn 3.
The yellow flag is out.
The caution has come out. Let's go back and look and see what happened there. We'll rewind. Try to see what happened. They're on board with Justin Walbring. Hard hit into the wall there. Looks like he may have gotten just a little loose trying to defend from the 14. That looks to be the case. Trying to change lanes in these cars with your tires wearing so fast. Gets just a little loose. The 14 will put the bumper to him, and around he will go. Justin Walbring is now in the pits. Sully Buck is now your leader, or is being scored your leader. Dustin Buck in second, Zach Domer in third, Brandon Griffiths in fourth, James Budd in fifth, Mick Olofsson in sixth, Lee Krause in seventh, Braxton Clues in eighth, Aaron Murphy in ninth, and Justin Walbring in 10th. Looks like quite a few cars pitted there. I believe most of the field, except for Sully, went to change tires. Zach, James, Brandon, Dustin, all leaving the pits. This is very quickly become a race for the top 5 here. A good chunk of our field now crashed out. I believe 3 or 4 cars. Aaron Murphy, Braxton Clues, Justin Walbring all having to go to the pits. We'll get a real count once we go to green, but I am only counting 7 cars still in the running. Your top 5 after the pit cycle is now Sully Buck, Dustin Buck, Zach Domer in third, James Budd in fourth, and Mick Olofsson in fifth. Maybe that will change. Yes, it will. Brandon Griffiths in fifth, Mick Olofsson just trying to be a little opportunistic. It will not work out, and he will have to settle with 6th place. I believe that's now Sully Buck going into the pits. Your leader pitting a lap early. I would have to assume he did not pit the first lap on accident. So Sully Buck will give up all of his track position. He has now fallen to 6th on the leaderboard. Lee Krause, I believe, getting the lucky dog, trying to catch up to the end of the field. Sully Buck has fallen to 7th. Now coming out of the pits, he will have some work to do once he gets back out on track. Your leader, Sully Buck, falling from 1st to 7th over a simple mistake in the pits. 8th now. Aaron Murphy back on track. Sully Buck trying to catch up to the field, falling to 8th position. Braxton Clues and Justin Walbring, I believe, either still in the pits or out from the accident that happened just a few laps ago. Justin Walbring getting a little loose, getting some help from the 14, trying to push him, and went straight into the concrete barrier. This is the 2008 version of Daytona. Safer barriers are not all the way around this track. There are some places where the hard concrete is still exposed. As you can see, heading onto the front stretch, you cannot see the safer barrier lining. The pace car pulls off, single file restart.
Green, green, green.
Dustin Buck will control it. The green flag waves in the air. Single file all the way down The driver's just trying to build some momentum. Looks like Zach Domer will pop to the outside, trying to get around Dustin Buck. He's alongside. Now he's got him by a nose. Brandon Griffith's hopping below the double yellow, falling hard to the back of the pack. Zach Domer, meanwhile, getting out to the lead. Dustin Buck following behind in second. Zach Domer leading the lap. Dustin Buck less than a car length behind. I believe Dustin Buck and Lee Carlson just barely tapped the wall there as well. We have a battle going on for the top 5. I believe Sully Buck and Brandon Griffiths. Sully having to climb all the way from last on the restart. We now have a battle for the runner-up position. Lee Krause and Dustin Buck side by side. Sully Buck trying to join in on the fun. We have a car in the wall. Was not able to catch who that was. That will definitely affect the handling of their car. We are now 3 wide for the lead. Lee Krause trying to take it on the inside. Zach Domer up near the wall. They're jockeying all the way down the backstretch. We are 2 by 2 once again for the lead position here at Daytona. Lee Krause on the inside, Zach Domer on the outside. Sully Buck thinking about making it 3 wide, decides against it for now. He'll think about it once again heading to turn 1, but will decide against it once more. Instead, following the 14 of Zach Domer. Zach will rocket around the 99. Zach now in the lead by himself. Sully Buck pushing him into turn 3. Lee Krause falling to 3rd. Dustin Buck trying to take the podium spot away from him. Zach and Sully now tandeming way out ahead of the pack. Lee Krause will once again get in the wall. I believe he'll make contact with Mick Olofsson. Heavy damage to the 99 of Lee Krause. Looks like he's facing some connection issues as well. Truly heartbreaking for the 99. He was in the lead just a few short moments ago. He is no longer appearing on track. Zach Domer still in the lead. Sully Buck following closely behind. Dustin Buck trying to close the gap. Zach Domer taking a nice wide line through turns 1 and 2, trying to save his tire. In modern NASCAR races, tires aren't super important on super speedways, but when your tires fall off so quickly like they do in the 87s, every little bit of rubber counts. All it takes is one little slip up and you'll be in pit lane. Sully Buck trying to find a way around the 14 of Zach Domer. Looking to the outside, then the inside. Will not be able to get a clear move in either lane. Sully once again trying to find a way around the 14, allowing the 68 of Dustin Buck to close the gap. Slowly able to make a line work. He'll go to the inside. He will take over the lead from Zach, but he has not cleared him yet. He'll try it. He'll clear him going into turn one. Sully Buck a few feet out ahead of Zach Domer. Now leading by himself going into turn three. Right there, you can tell just how much he has to lift off to make sure the tires don't slip from under him. It may not look like it from up above, but these cars are a handful, even on super speedways such as Daytona and Talladega. Zach Domer getting alongside him. He'll clear the 67 of Sully Buck. Zach Domer now out ahead. Sully and Dustin Buck in second and third respectively. Brandon Griffiths in fourth. James Budd in fifth. Nick Olafson in sixth. Aaron Murphy in seventh. Sully and Dustin now side by side for the runner-up spot. Brandon Griffiths looking to join the fun, trying to make a three-car battle for the runner-up position, trying to chase down Zach Domer in the 14. Sully will get some momentum. He'll get right up to the bumper of the 14 car. He'll look to the inside. Then to the outside. He has a push from the 68 of Dustin Buck. He won't be able to make a move in turn three, but will he out of turn four? He'll go low then high, trying to break the draft from the 14. Zach Domer's still the leader. Sully Buck trying to make a move. Dustin Buck now having to defend from the 45 of Brandon Griffiths. James Budd following very closely behind now. James Budd has now entered the battle. Well, that looks like Dustin Buck up in the wall. His tires have faltered just a little too much. He'll fall to fifth, maybe fourth. He'll have to defend from James Budd. Now Brandon Griffiths will hop into the third position. Sully Buck still in second, and Zach Domer still in first. Dustin Buck in fourth, has a lot more work to do now. He was running third just seconds ago. Sully Buck will rocket to the inside of Zach Domer. He will make the pass. Brandon Griffiths looking to take second now as well. Zach Domer may fall to third here if he cannot get back around the 45. Sully Buck now your leader. But Zach Domer looks to take it back. He won't have a clear move in the tri-oval. Can he try it in turn one? Sully Buck now your leader. Zach Domer now in the shotgun position where Sully was just a couple of laps ago. James Budd now left out to dry, not in the draft. Dustin Buck will take fourth position from him. Zach Domer now closely following. He is on the tail of Sully Buck now for the lead. He'll take a wider line in turns 1 and 2, trying to save his car for later in the race. They'll get loose. Zach Domer will get to the wall. We are 3 wide for the lead. Zach Domer, Zoli Buck, and Brandon Griffiths. Zach in the lead ever so slightly. Sully Buck still trying to clear it on the inside. Brandon will jump down low. Sully will get loose. He'll save it. What a save from Sully Buck, but it'll cost him dearly, falling to 5th place, maybe 6th. He will fall to 5th. He has lost a ton of time to the lead now. Let's go back and see what happened there. Sully, with worn tires, just getting a little bit of that apron. He will now fall to the last position in the top 5. Zach Domer now in the lead by himself. We are 2 by 2 behind. Dustin Buck and Brandon Griffiths going for the runner-up spot. Sully Buck and James Budd going for 4th. Dustin Buck using the draft from the 14 to solidify his 2nd place running position. They'll all get bunched up once again. Very little room between 2nd and 3rd here. Brandon Griffiths getting all the help from the draft he needs. He'll jump down to the inside lane, trying to take 2nd. He's alongside. He will clear it. He'll go side by side with Zach for the lead. He is ahead, but not able to clear it. Can he clear it out of turn 4? No, he won't. Cars are going in the wall. Still side by side. Zach at the line. Brandon Griffiths right up to his bumper. He'll throw the car into turn 1. Now he doesn't have the momentum he did a lap ago. Still trying to hold on to the inside line. He'll fall back in line, but Sully Buck now climbing from the back. He'll take the inside and the runner-up position. They'll battle side by side for 2nd. Zach Domer now able to build upon his lead. And that looks like Brandon Griffiths in the wall there, trying to keep up his momentum and just got a little tight. Zach Domer very pleased to see this. He is only driving away from the pack now. Brandon Griffiths using the draft. He'll be able to get to the inside in turn 3. He'll get ahead, but can he clear it? Coming out of turn 4, Zach Domer stuck on the outside. Zach will use the downhill momentum. He'll clear Brandon Griffiths for the lead. Our top 5 all close in proximity to each other. Just as one car builds a lead, the car behind it will close it just like that. And just as I say that, the massive lead Zach had is now reduced to less than a car length. Brandon Griffiths in the 45. Following in 2nd, Dustin Buck in 3rd, James Budd in 4th, Sully Buck once again falling to 5th. forward here with Brandon Griffiths in the 45. We'll go to his cockpit camera so we can see exactly what he sees. He'll jump to the inside. He won't get alongside though. He'll have to lift off heavy in turn 3. Zach Domer, I believe, is now coming down to the pits. Your leader now pitting. That will give Brandon Griffiths the lead. Dustin Buck close behind in second. James Budd in third, Sully Buck in fourth. Zach Domer taking to the pits for some new tires. Another thing with the 87 NASCAR stock cars, pit times are very slow. These are not the highly trained athletes that you see in the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series. Your pit times will be in the high 20-second mark if you're getting a full tank of gas and tires. Sully Buck now coming to the pit lane. Brandon Griffiths lapping the 14 of Zach Domer. 3 cars left to pit. Who will bite next? Brandon Griffiths still in the lead. Dustin Buck very close behind. It looks like all 3 of them will take to the pit. Brandon Griffiths sideways coming into pit lane. Dustin Buck sideways. Excuse me, James Budd and Brandon Griffiths getting sideways in pit lane. Let's go back and watch that. Trying to carry as much speed as possible. Looks like Brandon Griffiths will get sideways and James Budd will go sideways trying to avoid him. That could potentially be an unsafe pit entrance penalty. We may see them dive below the yellow line very soon. Dustin Buck still in the pit lane. Sully Buck hopping to the lead. Zach Domer hopping down below the yellow line again. He may have gotten a speeding penalty or an unsafe entrance. He'll have to stop in his pit box. That will be a holding penalty for him. Truly heartbreaking. Your former race leader. Pit problems for almost all of our drivers tonight. Sully Buck being the least affected, now out in the lead by a long shot. As he is crossing the line, James Budd and Brandon Griffiths are in turn 4. Now just coming out to the front stretch. Oh, and we have a spinner. Sully Buck hard into the wall. Let's go back and see what happened there. That may have been Dustin Buck. The 68 of Dustin Buck trying to catch up after pitting. Will go above the yellow line, upset his car, and take out Sully Buck, the leader of the race. Just as things look so promising, we'll have to see how much damage Sully now has. Does not look. His right front, heavy damage to the body there. I'm curious though as to how much internally is messed up. Sully Buck still scored your leader. However, the rest of the pack will catch up to him. James Budd and Brandon Griffiths on the lead lap. However, fourth and fifth, Zach Domer and Dustin Buck. Zach may get the wave around here. We'll wait for our drivers to catch up to the pace car. Once again, this league's races are sponsored by Buck Wild Racing, and your victory lane will be sponsored by Astro Towing. Sully Buck, I'm sure, is not the happiest man in the world right now. After getting heavy damage from the car he was about to lap, exiting the pits. Oh, and right as I say that, Aaron Murphy, I believe, is trying to leave the pits. Unless my overlay is deceiving me. I believe it is. I apologize. Sully Buck, Brandon Griffiths, and I believe Dustin Buck all heading below the yellow line into the pit lane. Sully Buck repairing damage. I believe Dustin Buck as well. He took a hard hit there. Brandon Griffiths maybe still changing tires, maybe serving a penalty. I'm not quite sure. James Budd now alone on track, your race leader. The Extreme Forces Racing League offers a bonus point to any driver who can lead a lap in a feature event, and I now believe 90% of the field has led at least one lap in tonight's event. James Budd, Brandon Griffiths, Zach Domer, Sully Buck, Dustin Buck, and I believe Aaron Murphy and maybe, or Mick Olofsson, maybe, and Lee Krause have all led laps in tonight's event. I believe the only drivers who haven't were Tom Quiring, who did not start the event, and Justin Walbring, who wrecked out early. Brandon Griffiths out of the pit, now trying to catch up to James Budd. Sully and Dustin Buck still in the pits. Zach Domer now catching up to the pack. Excuse me, Zach Domer is in the pits and Sully Buck is not in the pits. Now Zach Domer will be leaving the pits. Should be 4 cars on the lead lap now. Dustin Buck a lap down with the caution. I believe the lights are out on the pace car. We will be going green next time by. Zach Domer's caught up to the pack. Sully Buck, I believe only has the backstretch to go as the pack now enters turn 3. Oh, and Aaron Murphy. He has now joined the conversation. Aaron Murphy is back on track after getting some early damage. Aaron Murphy a few laps down, but he is still in the race.
Green flag, green flag.
All right, pace car is off. Green flag is in the air. James Budd on the outside. Brandon Griffiths following behind him. Your lap cars, Dustin Buck, Aaron Murphy, and maybe Lee Krause on the inside. Excuse me, that is not Lee Krause. That is the 14 of Zach Domer. James Budd in the lead. Brandon Griffiths just behind him. Excuse me, that is Aaron Murphy. Brandon Griffiths alongside him. Side by side in turns 3 and 4. It'll be James Budd at the line. Sully Buck and Zach Domer trying to get the last podium position. James Budd out in the lead. Sully Buck looking to the inside. Zach Domer following behind in third. Brandon Griffiths in fourth. I believe Sully and Zach Domer are now teaming up, trying to take the lead away from James Budd. Sully will get out just barely. Will he be able to clear it on the backstretch? He will, but he chooses to stay in the inside lane. Zach Domer pushing him hard. Sully Buck now out in the lead by himself. Zach Domer trying to hold on to second place. Aaron Murphy once again in the wall. 3 wide for second place. Brandon, Zach, and James all trying to take away the runner-up position. Sully Buck to the inside with the lead. James Budd on the outside. Zach and Brandon following behind in third and fourth. I believe that is Sully Buck now falling to the back of the pack. He may have just gotten shuffled out of position. I believe that's Dustin Buck now in the wall, losing more momentum, costing Zach Domer some time. James Budd out in the lead. Brandon Griffiths in second. I believe our drivers are just now starting to settle down. It may be not. Brandon Griffiths hopping to the inside lane, trying to take the lead from James Budd. Just as I thought our drivers were trying to wind down the laps, they start jockeying for position once again. Brandon Griffiths on the inside, James Budd on the outside. Excuse me, flip-flop that. James Budd on the inside, Zach Domer following behind. Brandon Griffiths on the outside in third. Sully Buck trying to regain his track position, still in fourth. James Budd still in the lead. We have another car in the wall. I believe that was Sully Buck. Zach Domer and James Budd still in first and second coming out of turn 2. The 14 will get right to the bumper of the 81 going into turn 3. Right here, you can see just how much James Budd is fighting the car. He has clean air, he has decent tires. But right there, you can see he has to put so much wheel into the car, has to lift off so much in turns 1 and 3. While these drivers are fighting each other, they're just fighting to stay on track. The 68 now. Dustin Buck, the lap car, pushing James Budd. Zach Domer still in second. Now has to catch back up to the 81 with the 68 pushing him. Zach Domer will jump to the inside. He'll get behind the 45. Or excuse me, he'll get in front of the 45 and behind the 81. He looks to the inside, but he won't have a clear shot. Dustin Buck will follow back in line in third. Excuse me, not in third. In fifth, but third in line. Sully Buck following far behind in fourth. Brandon Griffiths in fifth. Zach Domer in second. And James Budd in the lead. Zach Domer to the inside and to the lead. James Budd will try to do a crossover, but it will not work. He'll fall to second. Dustin Buck following closely behind, but still a lap down. He is in the lucky dog position, however, so if a caution were to come out, he will be right back in the mix. Zach Domer, James Budd 1 and 2 at the front of the line. Brandon Griffiths in third, but behind the 68 of Dustin Buck, the lap car. Oh, and Aaron Murphy has crashed. Aaron Murphy will tow. Let's see what happened there. He was trying to defend position from, I believe, Sully Buck. He'll get a little loose. The 67 will tag him. Aaron Murphy manages to avoid the wall, will go down to the apron. He will skate back up the track. He'll try to get it back going. Sully Buck entering pit lane. May have gotten just a little damage from Aaron Murphy. He may also be trying to get new tires. We have seen just how important fresh tires are in this car. James Budd, meanwhile, able to get around Zach Domer. James is in the lead. Dustin Buck making it hard for second to third to get around him. He may be not in the standings, but he is putting up a fight on track. James Budd still in the lead. Dustin Buck second in line, but running fourth. Zach Domer in third. Brandon Griffiths. Brandon Griffiths in third. Dustin Buck in fourth. Zach Domer in second. James Budd in first. Dustin will look to the outside, not fighting for position, but fighting to get his lap back. Once again, Dustin Buck with the position he is in. If a caution were to come out, he would get his lap back and restart fourth. Sully Buck is now a lap down after pitting. But with the speed the cars are going on track and how slow pit stops are, Dustin is still able to get around him. James Budd still in the lead. Zach Domer in second. Brandon Griffiths in third. Zach Domer now following the 81 behind very closely. He was able to get around the 68 of Dustin Buck. Brandon Griffiths will tap the wall slightly. Zach Domer has lost some ground, but he will be able to make it back up with the draft shortly. I am not sure if my computer is having issues or if it is an iRacing issue, but the lights are not showing on track. This may be an issue. Let me see if I can fix this. I'm not sure how to get the lights to render. It is very hard to see the track, but the cars are easy to see. Excuse me, everyone, for the technical difficulties. And we have some cars going down pit lane. Let's go back and see who that was. Looks like Sully Buck, James Budd, and Brandon Griffiths. Is now Zach Domer on track by himself. I believe that's Dustin Buck a few car lengths behind. I'm now getting word from Sully Buck that the lights are an iRacing issue and that nobody can see anything. Thank you very much, Sully Buck. I am scratching my head here. Zach Domer now pulling into the pits. This will certainly make for an interesting end to this race. These drivers have no visibility and are relying solely on guesswork and racing instinct to make passes and drive around other cars with no lighting. Once again, thank you, Sully. I believe that was a graphics issue on my end. It is not. The lights are not on at Daytona International Speedway. Zach Domer now pulling out of the pits. Dustin Buck skating and sliding once again. Dustin Buck falls to third. I'm not sure what part of the track Zach is on. I believe he is coming out of the pits. Yes, that is the backstretch grandstands. Zach in the lead. James Budd in one set of turns. I cannot tell which set. I believe that is turn 1 and 2. He is now on the backstretch as well. Zach Domer, a whole stretch ahead of second place James Budd. Dustin Buck has pulled into the pits. As I say that, he is now leaving. I believe Dustin Buck may have issues. I am not sure he is on the apron. I believe he is skating through the infield grass. Dustin Buck hugging the inside wall. Zach Domer now just pacing around along with Dustin Buck. James Budd now into the lead, running the high line. I am not able to see where Zach Domer is on track. I do know he is on the backstretch. I want to say he's somewhere in the middle of the track. Dustin Buck has now found his way to the banking. James Budd and Zach Domer now the only two cars on the lead lap. Lee Krause now saying in the driver's chat it was almost like they were set for 24 hours of Daytona. Well, Daytona does run a 24-hour endurance race every year. However, they do turn the lights on at some point. I am not entirely sure what this is set up for. This is most definitely an iRacing issue. James Budd still out in the lead. Zach Domer on the banking now. I believe James Budd heading into turn 3 and Zach Domer on the front stretch. Dustin Buck a lap down coming out of the tri-oval. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not entirely sure how to call this race. It is very hard for me to see where the drivers are. I do apologize. I am trying my best. I am not the most experienced at this kind of scenario. The last time I can remember this happening was Season 4 with the rookie mini stocks. They went to Oxford Plains for a night race and found out there were no night lights at the track. So we had to wait 12 or so hours for it to be daytime. I believe James Budd is now passing Dustin Buck on the front stretch. Dustin Buck going just above caution speed. Zach Domer on the opposite end of the track. Let's go ahead and go to cockpit view with our leader just to get a sense of what he sees. And he sees just about nothing. James Budd, no headlights on his NASCAR stock car, no lights covering the track at all. He is relying on purely guesswork and maybe some markings like the Sunoco sign. It is pitch black for James Budd now. He's using markers like the green LED, like the green traffic lights placed around the track to tell drivers if it is good to race or not, letting them know when a caution comes out. If you've ever wondered why NASCAR tracks have such big lights covering the entire track, this is why. The headlights are too heavy and are too easily damaged to be used in NASCAR competition, so without the lights, the drivers wouldn't see a thing. Tom Quarring, league admin, posting in the drivers chat, the lights at the old Daytona are show only. We have a car hard in the wall there. I am not sure who that was. I hope they're okay. I hope they're doing well. That is Dustin Buck. I do not have a replay available to show you. I do apologize. Dustin Buck will fall further down, still retaining his third place position, though everybody else is off track. We'll once again go aboard with James Budd. The lights that you see atop the Daytona grandstands are not actually in use. They are just for show, as Tom Quarring has said. However, in the 2018 rendition of Daytona, they are in fact usable for events like the Daytona 500 and the Daytona 24. I just now have gotten a replay. Dustin Buck. Let's see what happened to him. Skating through the infield. Let's go ahead and play that at actual race speed. Looks like the car just gets loose on
Yellow
him.
flag.
We have a caution. Dustin Buck had crashed, and that brought out the caution. The replay is almost useless without the lights. I do apologize. I believe he had found his way to the infield and the car got out from under him. James Budd now in the pits. I'm not sure if he is getting tires and fuel or if he has called it quits. The only light illuminating the track as of right now is the pace car. James Budd, your race leader, following closely behind, the only light available anywhere. And it looks like James Budd will be pushing the pace car across the finish line. The pace car will now get a bonus point for leading a lap in tonight's feature. All right, well, now that we're under caution, let's see if we can bring in any of our drivers into the race booth. I see Dustin Buck is in the race lounge. Let's go ahead and dial up his radio, if it will let me. It may take me a second. I apologize. Dustin, do we have a copy? Dustin, do we have a copy? All right, I believe we do not have a copy from third place runner and finisher, Dustin Buck. James Budd in the lead. Zach Domer still in the pits. I believe he may be out. James Budd, your only car on track, has now lapped Zach Domer multiple times under caution. Pace car crossing the finish line once again. The league officials are now discussing what to do next. They're having a meeting with the drivers. We have gotten word from the official to keep continuing the race. We are unsure of how many laps are left, but we will go until the checkered flag flies. We will give Zach some time to see if he will come back out on track. We'll go and make an announcement to the drivers to see if any of them would like to get on the radio here. I'm not sure if the lights have come off on the pace car yet or not. I cannot see the pace car very well, despite it being the only thing reflecting light on my screen. The pace car does go below pit
Green
lane.
flag, green flag.
We have a one-man restart. James Budd controlling the restart by himself. A very sluggish takeoff, trying to save his equipment. Still no word on any driver interviews. I believe James Budd is now on lap 75. I'm not quite sure. Ladies and gentlemen, this could be the white flag lap. I am going off of the information on my backup timing sheet. On my end, it's telling me James Budd has completed 75 and 3/4 of a lap. And I believe James Budd has shut his engine down. He is puttering around the track. James Budd, after that restart, checkered flag or not, will be the inaugural winner of the Buck Wild 87 NASCAR Racing Series. Zach Domer will finish in second. Dustin Buck will finish in third. Brandon Griffiths in fourth. Sully Buck in fifth. Aaron Murphy in sixth. Mick Olafson in seventh. Lee Krause in eighth. Braxton Clues in ninth. Justin Walbring in 10th. And Tom Quaring with a DNS. James Budd will burn it down in the abyss that we call Daytona International Speedway. Just getting word now, we will have some driver interviews tonight. Braxton Clues will hop in here for a second, or in a second. Once James Budd finishes his victory lane celebration, sponsored by Astro Towing. James Budd will park it in the infield. At least I believe that is the infield, and he will reset. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the race is over. We're waiting for some drivers to get into the waiting room. We will also potentially have Justin Walbring joining us. But right now, let's give Braxton Clues a ring. Braxton, do you copy?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
All right. So first off, I'm not sure if you were on track when the lights got dim. Were you able to see anything or feel anything?
I mean, I wasn't on track at the time. I was just watching. I was watching the broadcast, but it looked like it was completely undrivable.
It was
I mean,
definitely
I can
hard to
only
see.
imagine driving in the pitch black.
Yeah, it is just looking at the screen now, there is nothing to look at here. Only the scoring tower and the grandstands are illuminated.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, maybe it was a good thing I crashed out a little early.
yeah, getting on to the topic, you and Justin got together. I want to say it was Justin that got loose and collected you in turn three. Very unfortunate end to your night.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I was pretty excited to drive these things. They were a handful. My arms were getting pretty sore after 10 laps there. But no, it's just racing. Stuff happens. I tried to avoid it, stay in my top lane there, but didn't end up working as well as I thought.
Yeah, a very unfortunate ending to your night. I'm not entirely sure anyone had a fortunate ending other than James Budd. Maybe we'll be able to talk to him sometime soon, if not next week. But thank you for sponsoring the NASCAR 87 League. Is there anyone you'd like to give
Yeah.
a shout out to?
Yeah, no, the guys Astro Towing here, Tom setting this up. I mean, it was good. I was proud to be a Victory Lane sponsor and have the name up on the broadcast. I mean, hopefully the rest of the season's all right. Hopefully they have lights that work. But yeah, no, looking forward to next week's race in Atlanta.
Yeah, I do believe they will have lights next week. If not, we'll run it in the daytime. Thank you very much, Braxton, and good luck next week.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will wait just a second to see if any more drivers will join us in the booth tonight. I want to thank you all for watching tonight. Tonight's race was a test of endurance. All of the Wednesday night series will be longer than your average Extreme Forces Racing League feature event. But tonight's race was very, very special. It was very hard for our drivers to see, feel, and know what their car was doing, especially when it came to racing side by side with each other. They were relying on guesswork and instinct the second half of this race. I do not see any other drivers waiting for interviews, so I will sign off here tonight. I have been Hunter Wellman, and this is the Buck Wild Racing 87 Classic NASCAR Series presented by Astro Towing. Thank you very much, everyone, and I will see you next Wednesday in Atlanta.